Okay. There's a bit of a visual lag on my broadcast. And all righty. Hello, ladies and mostly gentlemen, I see in the chat. Welcome to another round of the Friday Night Tech Talk. I am currently filling in the slot for George Haynes, Mobile Geezer, and I believe Jerome Ortega will be joining us later this evening. Hope you guys had a great week. I had a lovely 4-day work week this week, and it was fantastic. I wish I could have a 4-day work week every week. Now, in the description box, you will see the stories that we will be covering on this chat. But do feel free to leave a comment and subscribe, and I will get to it. Just want to say welcome to the first ones in. Nigel, hi. Six Louise, what's up? All right. And let's jump into well, let me get my, hold on. Hold on, Jerome is currently chatting. All right. Yeah, Jerome is a bit busy, but he'll be in later tonight. But let me get the first story up and running. This one is just an announcement from T-Mobile. Hold on. I actually have the stories on my Chromebook here, but I forgot that I should get it on my MacBook so I could cast it and share it with you guys. And come on, go. MacBook, why are you being so slow? Voila. Why are you being so slow? You're embarrassing me. I'm embarrassing myself. Okay, I'm sharing the screen with the first. Chrome tab, boom, shared. Now, as I said, this is a simple announcement from T-Mobile. Android fans just got a texting upgrade. T-Mobile and Google joined forces to expand rich messaging RCS. May 26, 2020. And the news basically is T-Mobile customers with Android smartphones have enjoyed an upgraded and more engaging texting experience with RCS for years. Now they'll have RCS with capable Android users on other networks across the globe too. Thanks to first-of-its-kind partnership with T-Mobile and Google. This matters because the Un-carrier customers send more than 700 million RCS messages a day, and in the last several weeks, messaging traffic on T-Mobile's network was higher as people reached for their phones more than ever to stay connected because of the pandemic. Now, this is for millions of Un-carrier Android customers and anyone with a capable Android smartphone that they text. Okay, and there's even more. 5 years ago, Un-carrier customers were the first in the US to enjoy enhanced texting capabilities with rich communication services so they could share high-resolution pics and videos, see when someone's typing a response, and more. I thought that was Sprint, actually. Well, I guess they're the same company now. Since then, RCS has evolved to include advanced group message capabilities and other upgrades. Today, T-Mobile and Google announced that they've teamed up to expand RCS for T-Mobile and Metro by T-Mobile Android customers, so they can now get that same upgraded RCS experience with when texting with Android users on other networks across the globe. T-Mobile customers are relying on messaging more than ever right now to stay connected to friends and family because of the pandemic. In the first several weeks of social distancing, high-res photos and video sharing with RCS doubled on T-Mobile's network. To up-level all those texts for Android customers, T-Mobile has become the first in the world to implement a full standards-based RCS Universal Profile 1.0 interconnected with Google's message services. That's a fancy way of saying that T-Mobile Android customers with capable smartphones get RCS with Android users on other network too. All right, that's news. There has never been a more important time to stay in touch with friends and family, and enabling cross-network RCS messaging with Google is one way we can give T-Mobile customers a better experience to do just that. Messages users around the world can now have a rich messaging experience over RCS when connecting with friends and family on T-Mobile's network. Hold on. Oh, looks like I got it off the screen. Let me get you back there. I'm around here. Let's see. Said Hiroshi Lockheimer, Senior Vice President of Platforms and Ecosystems at Google. Ooh, did he get an upgrade? Promotion? We're committed to expanding this modern messaging capability to more people, and we especially hope this helps bring people closer together right now. Un-carrier customers are big on testing and on average send more than 700 million RCS messages a day. Now T-Mobile Android fans get an RCS experience while texting Android customers on other networks to get RCS features. Today, nearly 40 T-Mobile and Metro by T-Mobile smartphone models are ready to share RCS messages with Android users on other networks, and T-Mobile is aiming to bring this capability to all RCS-enabled smartphones. The Un-carrier has a history of innovating and enhancing the messaging experience for customers. T-Mobile was the first to launch RCS in 2015 and work with Android device makers to drive adoption of those features and build them directly into phones. I could have sworn that was Sprint. Bear with me one moment. Hey, Google, who was the first network to bring RCS messaging?
T-Mobile. Here's a summary from 9 to 5 Google. T-Mobile explains that it was the first.
Oh, it was T-Mobile. My fault. According to Google. Let's see. The Un-carrier has a history of innovating and enhancing the messaging experience for customers. T-Mobile announced support for GSMA Universal Profile of RCS that brought features like 100 megabyte file transfers, larger group chats, and group chat customization. Today, almost every Android phone sold by T-Mobile comes with RCS Universal Profile 1.0 features built into the phone's native messaging app. So I guess that this story mainly pertained to people on T-Mobile, which is me. Who else in the chat here has T-Mobile? Let's see. Hi, Ali. Hi, Crystal. Let's see. So as a T-Mobile customer, of course, this is good news. Personally, I guess maybe because I don't text enough, I haven't really seen the benefit of RCS on my smartphone, on my BlackBerry. Like, hold on. Maybe because I'm not like a social bee, but let's see. Let me go to the first person. Let's see. Contact. Let's type on this contact. I'm going to block the name, but if you can see, most of the time, if I'm sending a text to someone, it's a text message. It's not a chat message. How about this guy, Mike Dyson? Text message. Let's see. Let's see my cousin. Text message. I think all these text messages are just iPhone users. But that's not to say the feature's not useless. Just hasn't been useful for me personally. Have you guys noticed any difference now that RCS has been unleashed on Android smartphones? Ellie's, yep. Same thing with Ellie. Hasn't noticed any change. The pictures still look whack. Okay. Shall we proceed to the next story? Boop, boop. Oh, come on, Mac. Give me Google, Keith. Let's see, next story. This one is interesting. Next story is about a fan favorite for some of the members on this Friday Night Tech Talk, OnePlus. Sharing the screen now. Boom. Alrighty. Get out of here. Okay, so this article, Fast Company, headline reads, exclusive, OnePlus will make a cheap phone again and ramp up its platform. In a strategic shift, the smartphone maker will return to its low-cost roots and expand beyond smartphones to take on the tech giants more directly. Oh yeah, they were supposed to bring out a TV. Whatever happened to that? Article is by Jared Newman, and I'll try to get through this in 6 minutes. So OnePlus wants its products to be surprisingly cheap again. Oh, I'm confused. Oh, here it is. Let's see. OnePlus wants its products to be surprisingly cheap again. I don't know why that's surprisingly. More people buy cheaper phones, I think. That's one takeaway from an interview with the founder and CEO, Pete Lau, who describes how the Shenzhen, China-based company is shifting strategies after 6 years in the smartphone business. Once known for selling nice phones that are at hard-to-believe prices, OnePlus wants to get back to making more affordable phones while also expanding to new product categories, Lau says. OnePlus isn't revealing any of those products yet, but a glimpse of the new strategy will soon arrive with an announcement for India. Later this year, the company hopes to bring lower-priced devices to other markets, including North America and Europe. The ultimate goal is to sell a lot of phones with lower price tags. Okay. Then spin them into an ecosystem of connected devices. We can look at it having a more affordable product offering, Lau says through an interpreter, but all the products that still remain up to the OnePlus standard, through this enabling more people to have access to OnePlus products. Back to roots. 6 years ago, cheapness. Oh, hey, Max. Let's see. 6 years ago, cheapness put OnePlus on the map. The original OnePlus One was a groundbreaking phone selling for $300 at a price when unlocked iPhones cost more than twice as much. While the phone wasn't quite up to flagship standards, it had a slick design, a large screen, a pretty processor, a fairly decent camera, a long battery life. Okay, let me just put a little correction. It did live up to flagship standards, except for the camera. The fact that it sold exclusively online through invites and flash sales added to the new brand's mystique and helped it build a community of fans. Since then, the price of OnePlus phones has ticked upwards, keeping up with the industry trend of increasingly fancy smartphones at higher prices. That price creep culminated in last month's launch of the OnePlus 8 and the OnePlus 8 Pro. OnePlus 8 Pro. At $700 for the former and $900 for the latter, the phones have strayed far afield from OnePlus' original appeal. Yo, what up, Will? Oh.
Hello.
Oh.
Hey, what's going on, Ted? What's going on, Jerome?
What's going on, Will?
I've been sitting here for like I was watching and I was like, hold up, what's going on? It's just Ted.
No,
what's going on, y'all?
Not much.
You guys are just lurking there. Like,
hey, that's on you, Ted. You're supposed to hit the invite or put us.
I was only in there for a minute though. I wasn't in there
long. Well, I hope you guys enjoy the show behind the curtains. Where was I?
What's going on? Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. You were on the OnePlus, right?
Yeah. That's what's on the screen now.
All right.
Okay. Isn't that your darling phone, Will? You want to take over?
Well, no, not really, but yeah, I got it. Let me see. What article you at?
Okay, if not really, fine.
Nah, come on, I got it. Where you at? Let me see. OnePlus is revealing. Where were you at? What paragraph are you on?
I'm on the where it says back to roots. Back to roots, third paragraph.
Back to the roots.
Third paragraph.
6 years ago, cheapness.
No, third paragraph, Will.
Third paragraph. The new strategy. All right.
Yep.
The new strategy is on one level a return to OnePlus's roots. The premium phone push hasn't been a failure for OnePlus, which cites data from Counterport Research. They're always the one they cite, showing it ranks fourth in shipments for phones priced below $400 or priced $400 or higher, behind Apple, Samsung, and Huawei. OnePlus also hasn't indicated if it will stop making higher-end models. Still abandoning cheaper tiers may have alleviated the brand's original fans and anyone else who feels neglected by even pricier phones. What we're seeing is that with current products, there's still a demand from a large consumer base for a more suitable price that enables more consumers to be able to access OnePlus products, Lau says. That's really important insight, and it's something that we're taking into very serious consideration. Beyond the phone, while the return to cheaper phones might seem like a retreat, Lau says it's all part of a bigger plan. Last year, OnePlus started selling a smart TV in India and has dabbled in selling wireless neck-band earbuds. Lau says to expect more forays into other categories beyond the smartphone. The hope is to create enough scale to offer a common ecosystem across devices, as Apple has done so successfully, and other Android makers have also attempted to varying degrees. We indeed have come from a background and roots as a hardware company, but from what we see looking forward, building an ecosystem is a forward trend. Jesus is long. Yes, this is another case of a hardware company getting smitten with software and services, which is something that hasn't always gone well. Samsung and LG remain best known for their manufacturing chops, despite many efforts to build portfolios of service around their phone, smart TVs, and appliances. The PC maker Acer once tried dabbling in cloud storage services only to retreat several years later. The problem is that hardware vendors must contend with the dominant platforms on which their devices rely. Only Apple controls all of the ingredients of its own devices, from chip to operating system to app store. OnePlus depends on Google's Android operating system for both its phones and its smart TV, and finding ways to stand out won't be easy. Still, Lau says opportunities exist. As early examples, the company points to how its smart TV has a shortcut for switching between apps and can automatically reduce volume when a call comes in on a OnePlus phone. OnePlus also mentions a mobile remote control app for its smart TVs and a feature that shares Wi-Fi credentials across devices, although similar features are available in Android proper as well. You have an Android foundation, but it's really looking at this seamless experience where it gets challenging, where Android won't create a full solution. Lau says Android's able to bring it from 0 to 1, but it's the 1 to 10 you really have to put in a lot of work for yourself. What is OnePlus anyway? OnePlus isn't just building an ecosystem on its own. The company also has help from Oppo and Realme, two other Chinese smartphone brands with a common investor named O+. This is the first time OnePlus has publicly acknowledged the investor's name. OnePlus's ownership structure has long been a point of confusion, especially since the company has long positioned itself as a scrappy startup taking on the giants of consumer electronics. Several reports have claimed that a Chinese corporation called BBK Electronics operates OnePlus, Oppo, Realme, and another brand called Vivo. However, Oppo denied any relationship with BBK in a statement to The Verge in 2018, and OnePlus has always maintained that it is an independent company.
Yeah,
Ask
right.
for clarification. I know, right? This is just funny. Ask for clarification. OnePlus only says that O Plus is a private investor group and has no direct affiliation with BBK. Why does any of this matter? For one thing, the companies share supply chain and manufacturing resources, which explains why Oppo and OnePlus phones, they look exactly alike.
Yeah, right. Come on.
But Lau, who worked at Oppo for over a decade before founding OnePlus, also suggests that Oppo devices will help his company achieve the scale it needs for its ecosystem ambitions. OnePlus remains an independent company, but what this means is there's a larger base of users across this group for potential access to building out a wider ecosystem. In practice, the implications are a bit fuzzy. Are OnePlus and Oppo pooling software resources as well? Will connectivity features on OnePlus devices be compatible with those of Oppo devices? For now, OnePlus isn't saying, but it does seem like the companies are getting more comfortable talking about their relationship. With any grand ecosystem plan, there's a risk of losing focus on what made a company successful in the first place. A few years ago, for instance, the Chinese device maker Xiaomi admitted that it grew too fast and lost smartphone market share as a result. Looking back further, HTC never recovered after flooding the market with phones in all shapes and sizes and losing its edge in Android flagships. Eventually, it sold most of its smartphone operation to Google. Lau says OnePlus will be different as the company is growing in a sustainable way. Last month, it laid off roughly 20 employees in Europe. The company employs more than 2,000 people and scaled back regional offices in the United Kingdom, France, and Germany. OnePlus said it was normal restructuring, but Engadget reported that the company wanted to focus on healthier markets. Lau says a recent carrier deal with Elisa in Finland, overall success in Scandinavian markets, and budding partnerships with T-Mobile and Verizon in the United States are all evidence of how the company is now steadily building on what works. Expect the same, he says, as the company expands into new areas. OnePlus is still a young brand, Lau says. We are a company that's constantly considering, evaluating, iterating, working on our strategy, continuing to improve our strategy to really be focused on creating a long-term sustainable success. Ted, you be picking some long articles.
Hey, good job.
Dang. All right, I'm done. I'll see y'all next week.
No, it's what though, it's funny because it says expect the same, but except higher prices or everything else to stay the same.
OnePlus is bugging, man. They lost me. I can't spend $900 on a OnePlus phone. Sorry.
And that's the thing is, you're completely alienating your market. I mean, you alienated me. I don't want to buy a OnePlus phone right now. I'm not going to spend $700 for a phone. I'm not going to spend $900 for a phone. That's why I tell people the deal right now, if you want to get a good OnePlus phone, is go buy a 7T. If you want to buy a new phone right now from OnePlus, buy a 7T for $500. That's a great deal. I mean, compared to what else is out there for the competition, that's probably a good deal that you can get for a phone right now.
I can't give them that kind of money because I don't know. I just can't. Like their camera ain't a Pixel. It ain't an iPhone 11.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like I don't know. They're shady. I don't know. I just can't do it.
Well, so
not when you know what it is. I don't know, Ted. If you ever had a OnePlus, but if you bought it when they were cheap, like to go from that to the price jump to me is ridiculous. Like they went up crazy. When I had the 3T and the 5, they were decent. Like it felt like I was buying a Nexus, and you can't complain. Like if they cut corners and you missing stuff, and now everybody's like, well, they didn't cut no corners with what is this one? The 8? What is this one?
The 8.
Everybody's like they ain't cut no corners with the 8, but the camera isn't enough. Not for $1,000.
Yeah. It's a tough sell. It's a really tough sell. It makes me wonder how many people really. So even though I talk all day about how I don't care about sales, I'm really curious to see
How many people bought it?
Yeah, how many people bought a OnePlus 8? How many people bought a OnePlus 8 Pro? Who shelled out $700? Who shelled out $900 for this phone? I just can't. I just don't see the kind of numbers that they were probably expecting or hoping. And so the thing that bothers me, because I covered this, I talked about how Pete Lau is saying, "Oh, we want to go back to cheap phones. We want to go back to like our roots." And it's like, well, why did you leave in the first place? But here's what they want to do. They want to make cheap phones, but they want to put cheap internals in it as well.
They want to do it like everybody on Android. That's the thing. They can't do that.
And that's what they were good at before. They were making cheap phones with high-end hardware in it. That's the difference. And so for them to do this now, it's kind of like, well, no, you're not really doing anything different. You're going to give us a mid-range price and you're going to put mid-range hardware in it. And there's going to be one or two differentiating factors. Like, it's going to have 90 hertz refresh rate, or it's going to have more RAM. It's always going to be one big thing.
You think it'll have headphone jack?
Maybe that's what maybe it'll be a headphone jack, but there's going to be a lot of other compromises as well. It's not going to be a flagship killer. You can't call whatever phone they put out a flagship killer because it's probably going to be comparable to every other Android phone at that price point. At least that's what I'm assuming.
Why is OnePlus so touchy about the whole BBK partnership thing? You guys heard of the Story Behind series, that Tech Alter?
No, I don't know nothing about Tech Alter, but OnePlus, their whole thing was when they came out.
He used to be a brand. He was a brand ambassador for Oppo, and he did like a behind the story series on OnePlus. Mm-hmm. And how they basically shared the same offices with Oppo under BBK Electronics. And he actually ended up having to take that video down. I can't find that video anymore on his channel.
Yeah, I wonder why. That's like that would be like Lexus saying they're not part of Toyota. No, we're our own company. We're completely different. We have nothing in common with them. We just share similar spaces and use similar parts. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're following the Apple strategy. They're building up an ecosystem, which is why they got rid of the headphone jacks. They got rid of the headphone jacks because they started selling Bluetooth headphones. Mm-hmm. And now they're going to be selling Bluetooth TVs whenever that's going to come to the US. And they're going to talk about, I'm surprised the phones doesn't have IR blasters, but
that's I don't think
so I don't think they can play the Apple game where, Apple is selling, more affordable phones, but I don't think it's going to have that iPhone quality, like that OnePlus says they're going to have. I think if you're going to...
Oh, go ahead.
I keep thinking maybe this is a good thing, like the OnePlus X. You guys remember the OnePlus X?
That was a $300 phone, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna ever come back. I don't think OnePlus can do that, or they can do that for some time. Well,
that's what the OnePlus Z is supposed to be in July. So the OnePlus Z in July is supposed to be the successor to the OnePlus X. Here's the thing: if OnePlus wants to be like Apple, why don't you make a camera that actually is Apple worthy? Because the OnePlus 8 Pro and the OnePlus 8 aren't it. I mean, yeah, is the OnePlus 8 Pro a better camera? It looks like it, but as far as night shots, at least from what I've seen, it can't touch the iPhone 11 Pro. It can't touch the Pixel 4. It's still out of its league. OnePlus is not there. That's their crux right now, is their camera. Their camera is not anywhere. Here's the thing.
But which one of you guys actually have but most OnePlus users, they use the Pixel app. No, they don't.
Oh, the Gcam, you mean?
I don't deal with that.
Yeah, the Gcam.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd use Gcam, but still. So I've used Gcam on my OnePlus phones, and yes, when I use Gcam on the phones, it is almost comparable. If not, some shots are even better than the Pixel during the day. When we talk about night shots, no, not even close.
Oh,
Maybe it's different. Maybe it's different today. Maybe it's different with the 8 and the 8 Pro. Maybe it's different with the 7. The last OnePlus I've had was a 6T. I haven't used anything since. I haven't used the 7 or the 7T or the 8. So I can't speak on that.
Relying on that's the problem with relying on an outside app. Like, the quality control, you can't rely on it.
Well, and here's the thing. So I'll be honest, even when I use Gcam, sometimes the Gcam app would shut down on me. Sometimes it wouldn't work when it was supposed to. And then there were times I would use Gcam and it looked like it took a picture and then it never showed up in my gallery. I remember doing a camera comparison and I took like 10 shots. And then later on, I'm like, where are my pictures? None of it saved. I realized that every time I took a picture, it never saved any of it. And, but that's the thing that's when you rely on third party and you rely on, and there's nothing wrong with that kind of stuff.
The
That's
Pixel
why
2 had that problem too. I remember.
That was just Google. That was just Google's trash. That's Google. That's not even OnePlus is better than that. That's Google's trash. Dude.
So it is. I want to see OnePlus kind of come back to where they were at, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I really don't know if any company is going to. That's why I talk about a lot of these Chinese brands, these other Chinese brands that like you see a lot of sales in China for, Realme, Oppo,
like
Vivo,
Realme,
whatever. Yeah, Realme, all of those, Vivo, because if you look at what they're putting in their phones, they're using high-end hardware. They're using Snapdragon 865. They're putting 8 gigs of RAM, 128 or 256 gigs of internal storage, and they're selling the phones between $400 and $500. And that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for one of these companies to be like, hey, why don't we just go ahead and invade that market then? And let's put something at a premium. Let's put premium hardware at a reasonable price and let's see if it'll take off. And another OnePlus is coming. I just don't know who it's going to be, and I don't know when that's going to happen. But I think another OnePlus company, a OnePlus-like company, is on the horizon.
I thought it was going to be Nokia. Honestly, I thought a year ago.
I'd love to see that.
I thought it was going to be Nokia, but I don't know what Nokia is doing now.
Well, someone on my stream, someone in chat was like, Nokia is never going to get to where it is because HMD is going to destroy them. Apparently, I don't know much about HMD. I don't know if that's the company that bought them out or that oversees them, but it's kind of like
the company that owns the Nokia brand.
Okay, so to me, it's reminiscent then of what I think when I think Motorola. Motorola is a great company, but now they're destroyed because Lenovo owns them. And
they're just living on the name. That's all.
Yeah, they're just living on the name.
That was there before.
That's a perfect way to put it. Yeah, perfect way to put it.
Nah. Let's see the next story.
Where's
what's up, Gary?
Where's Mike today? Mike's not here today.
This is our week off because this month is odd.
Oh,
like we do 3 weeks.
And that's right. I forgot about that.
5. But I saw Ted by himself, and I was like, "Whoa, ain't nobody in there." I didn't know it was gonna be that bad. OnePlus
is that bad.
To be by yourself is bad, man. I wouldn't have went on if it was just me. I gotta give you credit for that. Because you just, you know what I mean? You don't have nobody to bounce the stories off of. But I know when Jerome does do it every day.
Yeah, I have been doing it every day. I'm used to it at this point.
Hold on. Someone wants to drop knowledge. All right. Nokia owns Nokia. HMD licensed the Nokia name and intellectual property to make Nokia phones.
So they're still doing everything under their own accord. Is that how I'm reading that?
Yeah.
He
said Nokia owns Nokia, so Nokia still owns them, but HMD must be just making money off them.
Yeah, HMD is
gas, right? If they just license the
name. What a weird relationship to have.
So why isn't Nokia just doing it on their own? I don't know, but. I don't know. OnePlus to me, they fell off. I can't give them all that money. But I don't think nobody's going to come back. Like Jerome, you were saying, you think they're going to release a cheap phone. But let's say they release a cheap one this time. Based on the price of the Pixel 5, that's going to tell you if you're going to be able to get cheap 5G phones or whatever. Because who's going to release a cheap phone when the chip is that expensive?
I mean, that's a fair
You know
point,
what I mean?
man.
If the chip is so expensive, nobody's going to release the phone that cheap and take a loss.
Mhm.
OnePlus's whole strategy was to put the cheap phones out and take losses probably, and then raise the price later and make their money back.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
We'll
just
see.
think they failed at this one. I seen somebody on Twitter. I don't know if they were being funny. You know how OnePlus sends you that receipt, and it's like basically it's a piece of paper with their logo on it and tells you what you bought. It's supposed to be
Yeah,
like
I
a
know what you're
packing
talking
slip.
about.
Their packing slip was like, he was like, I guess this is how many phones they sold. And he was like 352 or something. his packing slip number was like 352. I said, oh man, people are crazy. OnePlus, they priced that phone too high.
I'm looking forward to the Z. We'll see what they use. I'm wondering if they're going to use, the 765 like is being reported, or if they're going to use that MediaTek one. I've never used, that Dimensity, whatever.
MediaTek.
Well, I mean, so apparently there's talks that Qualcomm kind of reached out to them, and they're trying to either have some sort of deal to use the 7, or to give them a better deal than what MediaTek is going to offer. But I mean, I would be curious either way to see how OnePlus will take, a mid-range ish whatever chipset and see if they can actually provide a good product with it. So we'll see. I see Gary can never leave the OnePlus name alone and keep calling it OnePlus.
All right, let's head over to the next story. Casting it now. Rest in peace, LG G series, waving goodbye to a true
LG confuses me, man. It confuses me.
Okay. Jerome, you want to take this one or?
Sure, I'll take it. Okay, here we go. It's time to bid farewell to the LG G series 2012 to 2019. After 8 generations and around 30 different handset variants that I challenge anyone to name in full from memory, LG has officially closed the door on its G flagship range, succeeding the series with the new LG Velvet. In Android circles, the LG G series sits right up there with the Galaxy S, HTC One, and Xperia brands as storied icons of the mobile industry, like the rest of the Android old guard. LG has certainly had its share of hits and misses over the years, but the G series has been an important feature in the yearly flagship cycle for as long as I've been in the industry. Ending the range is no small decision and marks a new chapter in LG's smartphone journey. As an LG fan, it's only right to pay homage to the great and not so great flagship handsets to have come out of the LG G series over the years. The early good years. The LG Optimus G launched back in 2012, representing the company's break into the fledgling smartphone market. It was one of the first handsets with Qualcomm's then cutting-edge quad-core Snapdragon S4 Pro processor, an early example of setting industry first that would quickly become a core principle of the G series philosophy. The blocky design won't be familiar to today's LG users, but it paved the way for the first highlight in the G series history, 2013's LG G2. The G2 provided serious competition to the industry leaders and set the tone for the company's early success, boasting a 1080p display with comparatively thin bezels, a great 13 megapixel camera, 60 frames per second, 1080p video recording, and a big 3000 milliamp hour battery. The phone showcased what smartphones could really do. The September release schedule allowed the G2 to secure another of Qualcomm's high-end processors before the competition, grabbing the attention of mobile enthusiasts worldwide. With the G2 and G3, LG set itself up to become a serious mobile leader. LG refined the formula with the G3 and seemingly couldn't put a foot wrong. We called it, quote, LG's best phone ever and one of the year's finest, thanks to its great camera design, nifty software tricks, and the industry's first QHD display. Between the solid hardware of the G2 and G3, LG set itself out to become a leader in the flagship market. Teenage experimentalism? What? After its initial success, the LG G brand became increasingly experimental. The G3 began pushing the boat with a QHD display and laser autofocus system, and the G4 went further with a curved display, wireless charging long before it was commonplace, and a selection of backplate materials. The phone controversially dodged the rather warm Snapdragon 810 processor for a slower 808 version, causing some to question LG's flagship credentials, but it was the boot loop issue. Everyone remembers the boot loop issue that really hurt LG's reputation. The G4 was still a good phone, but the G5 tripped over that fine line between visionary and madness. There was some enthusiast hype around modular phones like Project Ara at the time. I was looking so forward to Project Ara.
That was the phone that you built, right?
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed that it never came into fruition. I really thought that could have been innovative.
You would be able to like buy the camera that you wanted, buy the battery. So
I really felt like that had somewhere to go. But
for me,
I thought that was going to be the future.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be the future too. Yeah, I don't know. So let's see here, which saw LG, Essential, and the Moto Z hop on the modular bandwagon at various points. However, LG's camera and audio attachments failed to provide groundbreaking new experiences, dooming the exercise to failure. Modularity also sacrificed wireless charging and battery capacity, two of LG's previous strong points. The G5 did help kickstart the trend in wide angle and dual cameras and put the company on the radar of audiophiles. However, it certainly wasn't a traditional G phone, which saw reviewers add another lump to LG's increasingly sore brand image. Getting back to basics, needless to say, the gimmicky LG G5 was a disaster. I don't know. I kind of like the G5 actually. I know a lot of people didn't. I didn't think it was that bad. Despite promises to support the modular philosophy, the idea was quickly ditched and a return to normality ensued with the G6. The G6 was a welcome return to form with competitive specs, a beautiful glass metal build, a solid camera, and brilliant audio. But after 2 years in the wilderness, LG struggled to regain its previous traction. Let's see here. In an alternate universe, we might talk about LG in the same vein as giant Samsung and Huawei. LG couldn't keep away from controversy for long enough. The company returned with the oddly named LG G7 ThinQ the following year with the newly affixed ThinQ branding, attempting to unify its phone brand with smart fridges. The G series had produced another competent phone, but the brand struggled to find a fan base or niche to call its own. The retail discounts quickly followed, a harsh punishment for early adopters and a trend that would continue with many future LG phones. Sales had hit rock bottom, and the follow-up, the LG G8 ThinQ, failed to gain any traction in a sad turn of events. The LG series had failed to find a foothold, a modern market dominated by established premium brands and affordable Chinese handsets. In a somewhat fitting finale, the G series left us with one last throw of the gimmick dice, a dual screen accessory with the LG G8X ThinQ. The later G series years produced a number of good handsets that are arguably still underappreciated. I wonder if LG's experimental wilderness years ultimately ended up costing the company essential momentum at a time when Chinese brands began ramping up their brand recognition and competitiveness. In an alternate universe, we might talk about LG in the same vein as giant Samsung and Huawei, although we can't discount the cannibalizing effect of the LG V series on the G range either. G makes way for Velvet. The end of the G brand marks a change in direction for LG's mobile plans. Rather than competing for bleeding edge specs like the old days, the LG Velvet targets the quote mass market flagship. This means a more conservative hardware package and a lower price tag to match. While this may be disappointing for longtime LG flagship fans, it presents new opportunities. Without the distraction of bleed edge tech, LG can hopefully optimize its user experience around the core concepts consumers care about: battery life, design, and cameras. LG has correctly identified a gap in the market, sitting between the mid-tier and the increasingly expensive premium tier. Around $700 is an appealing price point. I don't agree with that. I think it's way too much, but LG will have to go up against brands like OnePlus and Xiaomi, who know this market well. We'll just have to wait to get our hands on the LG Velvet when it finally launches globally, hopefully soon, to judge whether or not this new approach has paid off. You guys know, I think that G7 is on its way to the States. Would you guys buy that phone for $700?
The what?
The LG Velvet, $700. That's
no,
what it's pricing at.
I don't like LG's software. I don't know. You know me, man. I'm picky.
I know you. You're like me. You're a stock Android guy like me.
I'm about to like throw this MacBook in the trash.
Why? What's because of the
Yes.
green
What
screen
is
effect?
that,
Why?
man?
Why
What
are you
is
getting
that?
that?
I
don't
have
understand.
no idea.
Hold on.
You
You have
don't
your green
understand.
screen. Do you have your green screen thing turned on in your settings?
Where's that at? I don't turn on the green screen. I've never had it in my life.
Hold on here. Go to Cam Mic and
On
then go to
StreamYard,
green.
right?
Huh? Yeah,
On
StreamYard.
StreamYard.
So at the bottom, in the bottom center there,
Mhm.
it says- in the bottom center there, go to Cam Mic
There we go. I found it now.
and then turn it off.
You're the man.
There you go.
Jesus
It was user
Christ.
error.
That's like me doing my IT support from years back.
I like never went in there. I don't even know, man.
You're good, man.
I
You're
was
good.
about to throw my MacBook in the trash.
It's not your MacBook.
I was like, yo, Apple's selling me trash. I got the bad keyboard and the camera's acting stupid.
See, so Ellie's saying it's way too much money. Here's the thing: is like I looked at this Velvet and I think it looks really nice. I think it looks. I mean, I like the design. I like the colors and stuff. I just think it's. You know what? I mean, it's a lot of money, man. For $700 for the Snap 765. I don't know if that's what I don't Gary said I don't know if that's what they're going to be pricing the Pixel 5 at either.
Jerome, listen, if you didn't know, right? Let's say Apple came out and was like, yeah, we put the new A13X in the new iPhone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't know the difference. You know what I mean? Because I know I'm kind of like that. Like I want the newest chip, right?
Yep.
But if the 765 is the newest chip, why are you know what I mean? Why do you care
that's
so much about the price? Like I don't, you know what I mean? I don't get it because
that's a fair point.
We already know the 865 is well, and only in the Pixel, the battery sucks. But the 765 can't be that bad. You know,
it's not bad.
It's
not bad.
Terrible.
It's not
no,
bad.
no. I don't think it will be either. I don't know.
So when they price the Pixel 5 at
$700 or whatever,
$900, you're gonna be like, I don't want it because of the chip.
Yeah, you know what? It's. I mean,
because
and that's really.
Think about it. I mean, you don't game on your phone,
right?
Like that. You're not gonna use nothing so high intense that you're gonna need it to, and you don't do benchmarks on your channel.
Yeah, no.
And I'm talking to you, but I'm trying to talk myself into it too. I'm trying to convince myself too that this is
that it's going to be worth it, right? That it's going to be worth your money. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Okay, let's see what this guy says.
Let's see what
should
this
a
guy
chip
says.
be the main thing that drives us to buy a phone? I don't know. I think this guy might be onto something.
Hey, he might be onto
because it has a lesser chip.
No, you know what? We'll makes a good
let's
point.
Take the OnePlus for example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what's Will's point? Will's on his
My point is that the chip is going to be a lower number, but it's not like it's going to be that poor.
Okay, here, let me ask you this question then.
$700, but if it was an 865 chip and it was $900 or an
Listen, if it was an 865 and you put it next to the 765, right? Let's say the Pixel 5 versus the Pixel 4,
right.
855, whatever's in it.
Yeah, sure.
Unless you sit there and be like, let me see which app opens faster. You're not
right. No. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, true. I agree.
I completely agree. Okay, then let me bring this up.
And you'll get a better battery out of the 765.
Sure. No, and
no. That depends on a number of factors. Whether a chip gives you a certain amount of battery life.
If it's the Pixel, it's going to die in a couple hours. That's just how they do it.
So I guess for me, it's kind of like, did you guys take a look at that? There's a chart right now, and I know that benchmarks don't mean everything. Obviously, they don't. If anything, it's just kind of a good baseline to kind of see where
SAT scores.
Yeah, kind of in a way, right? Yeah. Right. It doesn't really show their street smarts or whatever. You know what I mean? But but imagine. Here's the thing, though. If you look at those charts, you'll see that the 855, right? The Snapdragon 855 2019's flagship chipset or whatever, 855 plus. It in terms of performance, I'm guessing just in terms of raw performance, it outperforms what the 765 is at, levels above. And you can buy a lot of phones probably with the 855 chipset for a lot cheaper than $700. And I think that's kind of where like my mind goes when I think of pricing. I know that obviously the chipset isn't everything, but
you mean because the chipset is not just because of the chip, but you're saying, all right, so Google's going to come out with the 765 and price it at 800, but somebody else might have the same chip and it might be 500.
Right. Or how I look at it.
If you look at it that way, that's like everything. You're paying for the name. Like, no matter what, I trash the Pixel. They're going to put a 765 and the camera's going to be amazing. So you're paying for other stuff. Like, you're not really paying for the chip. We know with Google, you're not paying for nothing but the camera and the software updates.
And that's a fair point. I guess it's something I have to consider because really what it comes down to for me is I will look at those price points and then I will compare it to other phones that I can get at that price and say, well, why wouldn't I just buy this one instead? But yeah, the differentiating factor will be the camera then on the Pixel 5. So that's why I say the Pixel 5 has to kill it in the camera department, because otherwise what are you spending that money for? Stock Android? I can't justify spending the money for that.
This is the thing, and that's the problem with stock Android is that sorry, Ted, we just took over talking about stock Android is boring, and Google doesn't add nothing to the Pixel that makes you be like it's worth it. To me, almost at no price though. There's almost no price that Google makes it worth it. You know what I mean? Because to spend $800, you can buy, just like you just put up on the thing, you can go buy last year's Note 10 or whatever. You're still going to get a good camera. It's going to be cheaper than the Pixel, whatever the current Pixel is. You know what I mean? Like, stock Android is boring. And I love stock Android. I love Pixels, but they're boring, and Google needs to come all the way down on the price. They need to just, if they really don't like selling phones, they need to drop the price all the way down.
That's why I want to. That's why
if they really don't care, because they're not making no money anyway. So just drop the price so more people want to be attracted to looking at it, and make it premium. They already losing money because nobody's buying it.
Yeah,
nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to continue to buy it because the only difference with Apple is boring and everybody hates the icons and all that. So you can't get iOS, and if you want AirDrop or whatever iPhone brings you, you can't get it nowhere else. What Google puts on a phone, you can get it everywhere.
Yeah.
Every Android phone has the same thing. Mike got call screen on his Moto.
Yeah, Will's been driving this point for a while. I mean, it makes a lot of sense though. I mean, it's like why would you switch to Android when it's like, well, I can get, Google Keep on my iPhone. I can also use Duo on my iPhone. And so that is, again, this is Google just wanting, so yeah, obviously Google wants you to be on their ecosystem. They want you to take advantage, whether you're on an Apple or you're on an Android. I see Gary though. And I see Gary saying though, like,
it is though, Gary. Look at a Note, any Samsung, any LG. I hate LG software, but go look at their phone and the options and stuff that you have versus. No, you went to, where'd you go, to Amazon? That's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
But no, you can find a renewed Note 10 Plus for $630, or you find you could get the brand new Pixel 4 XL for $650.
See? So,
but that's a current phone for this year. It's going to get 3 years of updates. It has the Soli, the LiDAR. It has the call screening.
Listen, have you ever used it? Don't even bring the LiDAR. What's that thing? Don't even bring it up. It's trash. It's trash. Google.
You could just wax on, wax off the phone if you need to be quiet.
You got to ask Jerome how it works because I turned it off because it kills your battery.
Yeah, I turned it off.
And
too.
Gary
I turned it
likes
off
it.
again.
Gary likes it. Gary likes it. Look at that. Look what he said. Samsung phones got screen recording. They get. Oh man, I don't even want to talk about.
And that's
All
that's
phones have had screen recording. It's called
Except for
Google
Pixel.
Play Games. It's Google
Except
Play
for
Games. It has the screen recording.
Pixel don't got screen recording. Pixel just
The app,
the ability to edit.
it's in the app Play Games. It's in the app Play Games. That's why they didn't have to put it in.
they should have
Good
baked
app.
it in. Come
Google
on,
Play-
let's not be an apologist
Google
here.
Play Games is baked into the app, isn't it? On Pixel phones. So technically it is.
If you had like a Galaxy S8 or 9, if you took a screenshot, you could draw on it. Android just added that like a year ago on the Pixel. Like they're so behind. They were like, yeah, we're not going to add extended screenshot because we don't need it. Or
Okay.
something
Oh,
stupid.
that's
Features-
that's a good part. Extended screenshot, that's a good thing.
See, Google is terrible, man. They need to just stop. Like, I don't know. It makes me mad whenever I talk about it.
No, I know it does. And here's the thing though, is like I even though like you know, you say Android 11 is boring. I wouldn't call it that. I still think there's a lot you can do with it. I do think no, I hear what you're saying, but Android does need to bake a bunch of stuff into I mean, and it looks like a lot of stuff is coming into 11, which is great. Mike, why don't you just come in here, man? Just come into the stream and you can
Well,
bitch
he
with
ain't
us.
gonna come in there with all that bullshit. Telling him that boring is good. He needs to go be
Mike-
watching
Mike
Golden
is-
Girls if he wants to be
So,
boring.
Mike is so on that iPhone on that iPhone like division now.
Listen, I corrupted Mike. I got him in the right direction. But see, I won't use like I don't like
Gary.
Yeah, listen, Gary, I like the simplicity of the Pixel. That's why I like it. But for the price that they're charging you, you have to give more than just the camera. The camera can't be the only thing about the phone that makes it stand out.
You get the
Right now-
call screening. You get the call
Listen,
screening.
hold on. Ted, listen, because right now, go watch Jerome's
3
channel.
years of
I'm
software
gonna give you a
support.
plug, Jerome. Go watch Jerome's channel, and Jerome only really compared it with the iPhone, I think, but it's not that far ahead anymore. If it's even ahead, it's not ahead of the iPhone 11. So I'm sure the Galaxy S20 and all them phones done caught up. So you can't be like, I'm gonna buy the Pixel just because of the camera, because most people aren't gonna zoom
And the
in.
software updates. And the software
looking at-
updates.
Yeah, but listen,
The
but
services.
listen. When you get the software updates on Google, right? What they're adding to the software has been on Samsung since the S4 and S5. Like you're not getting.
It's been done reliably.
can't-
It's been done
It's
reliably.
been done.
As in,
Google don't do nothing
Oh,
reliable on the Pixel.
every time a Samsung
If I go-
iPhone gets an update,
If I go
it's
show
a
somebody-
different beast.
If I go show somebody with a Samsung and be like, yeah, look what I could do on my Pixel, they'll be like, yeah, I was doing that on my S6. You know what I mean? Come on, it's my S6 had that. It's
You want to know the funny thing is, so yesterday I said on my stream, I think it was yesterday when I said it, Google could put, as far as the chipset, they could put a Dorito in there and I would probably still spend the money on it. That's at the end of the day, that's the truth, is like, and you know, like, obviously I'm joking, but the thing is, I have always supported Google, and I want to, it's like, no matter what happens, I'm probably still going to buy it. And if I have to sit and bitch about it again for another year, then I guess so be it. But we'll see. I'm saying I'm optimistic about this 4A, except for the fact that it's not going to come out until August, which makes no sense to me, because then why would you buy that, and just why not wait for the Pixel 5? But
Pixel 5. That, listen, I meant to tell you the other day. I think I did tell you. That shows you that the Pixel 5 is going to have a ridiculous price, because they wouldn't even be releasing the 4A so close to it. Why would you put
That is a good point.
$400?
That's a good point.
5 is coming at $600. No, it's not happening. That phone is going to be $999 because Google's going to add more storage, and they feel like, I think Google's like, in order for us to compete and say that we're as good as, because the Note 10, the 20, I guess, will be coming in and all that. In order for them to compete, they feel like they have to have the same price point, or people won't believe it's as good, which is dumb because their whole marketing behind the 3A was like, our phone is a half the price and our camera is better than theirs.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they feel like the 4A, I mean the Pixel 5 has to be $999. Like they make direct competition with Apple. And before they would be like, all right, you'll get the free lifetime storage. Now they took that away. Like they're taking away stuff that you like. Call screen and Ted, call screen, right, is great. But I could just block the call. That's not
what if it's an important call that you shouldn't block? What if it's the IRS saying, "Hey, it took too long to get out this $1,200 to you"?
I still block.
Ted, have you ever used it? Have you ever used it? As soon as you push it and they hear this is a service from Google, they hang up. Nobody wants to hear that. Thing.
Nobody wants to hear that. I've used it and I've had nobody ever respond.
I don't think it says it anymore, does it? I thought it says the same thing that Google Voice does. They don't hang up.
This is a call. This is a call.
And if they hang up, isn't that good? It saves us the energy.
Sometimes regular people hang up. They don't want to hear that. They be like,
then I don't want to talk to you. Like, you know.
They were like, Ted, yeah, we got your money down here. You got that stupid call screen mess coming on. They're gonna hang up the phone. Don't nobody want to hear that. It's cool in the beginning.
Yeah, now everyone's used to it. They're used to seeing that or hearing that all the time. I don't know.
What's up, Brian? We were looking for you.
Let me get up the next story.
All right.
But let's see. Iteration over iteration. Let's see that one. Poop. This one is from Medium. It's a Medium post.
Huh.
Okay.
We'll bring in that fire. Shut up, Brian.
What's going on, Brian?
Ted, what phone do you got, Ted? You got a BlackBerry, right?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Ted, man, you need to. You and I got to talk about fixing your internet, bro, because you are like 8,000 seconds behind. This is like you're talking to me from last week's stream, bro. No, you're just lagging really bad, Ted.
Because he lives in Texas, right? You must live.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with it. Fix your internet.
I'm in the boonies. Well, no,
I think he said
it's my webcam. I'm using the iPhone as a webcam, and sometimes it goes on the fritz.
And now,
so I have to be like,
as soon as the stream ends, it's gonna be perfect.
Yeah, but
it's StreamYard. That's all. Just blame StreamYard.
Mine's fine. I don't have any issues when I stream with StreamYard.
No need to flex, Jerome. Your flexing does no good.
Ted, I'm trying to help you out here. That's all I'm trying to do.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. All right.
Yeah, Jerome is pretty good with fixing stuff. He'll let you know.
You're good with the IT.
Yeah. All right. How long is this one?
Let me get
this question.
You got this one.
Every story is like the Bible.
And in the beginning, there was one smartphone, and that smartphone was with Apple.
Ted,
Steve Jobs said this was good.
Oh man.
Let's go,
okay.
Ted, you got this.
I got this. Okay. Let's see. Iteration over innovation. The need to change the smartphone design cycle. Oh, hold on. But before we get into that, this message was brought to us by, hold on. Boom, Gary.
No.
And yes, if you do join Jerome's membership page on his YouTube channel, I don't know what membership tier is that. What membership tier is that?
Thank you, Ted. Thank you for that plug. Yeah, you guys. Actually, Gary, if you are a member of my channel, if you're part of Team Phone Jerome, I will fix your relationship. I can do that, no problem. Just pick the Predator tier, and we'll do it over Discord. And I got you fixed right up.
The Predator tier. I don't know about the Predator. Oh my god! All right. So I have admitted this before. By the way, this story is from Omar Zaran. I have admitted this before, but I watch a lot of tech YouTube content. It is perhaps a statement on my tech obsession, but there is another reason why I watch these videos. I am often inspired by the commentary from some of these creators, like myself. This was the case the other day as I was watching an excellent video from tech personality, some punchable face guy. The video was an open letter to smartphone manufacturers to stop making phones every year and instead to focus on a 2-year refresh period.
Oh, I wish.
Hey, Ted,
I
can you take
thought
that
Juan made
comment
some
off the
great-
screen just to kind of clean it up a bit?
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
nobody, I see it.
There you go.
Let's see. Oh, I thought Juan made some great points. What?
You're reading it from where?
Yeah, because your screen's not
You're not
moving.
scrolling, yeah.
I have to read it.
You're reading
Okay,
it from somewhere else?
Yeah. I
Oh.
thought Juan made some great points in the video and have some thoughts as to why Android phone manufacturers should take this approach. The auto industry model. Maybe living in Metro Detroit for the last decade and a half has done this to my mind, but I often feel that there are a lot of parallels between the auto industry and the cell phone industry. Okay. Both products are essential to most people's way of life. Both have a retail dynamic that is reliant on direct and indirect selling, and most people are very uninformed on the nuts and bolts of the product. With that being said, one thing the automotive market does well that the smartphone does not is the realization of when to do a refresh of a product. Generally speaking, people keep a new vehicle in their possession for about 6 years, according to AutoTrader. As a result of this buying trend, cars are redesigned about every 5 years. What does this mean? Auto manufacturers notice that the people aren't upgrading their cars with regularity every 2 years, so there is no need for a massive overhaul year over year. The massive overhaul should only come when most people are looking for another new car. That added benefit of this universal parts and accessory support. Usually, many parts of it for a series of a car is in a year range as opposed to different parts for each year. The auto industry, in this sense, understands the buying habits of the consumer. The same understanding cannot be said of Android's manufacturers. There is an expectation within these companies that there needs to be a change year over year to create demand. We may have reached a point where there is not enough innovation being achieved to make a year over year upgrade. So companies do the next best thing and tweak the design just to make the newer phone appealing and incompatible with previous accessories. And while companies have been getting away with this for a couple of years, the consumer is starting to see that as a fallacy. More money, more pressure. Well, we are well aware that a new phone is released by a manufacturer like clockwork every year. If you are a gadget nerd, like I am, you even know the time frame. A Galaxy S phone from Samsung, a new Galaxy S phone from Samsung. No. Okay, Samsung releases a phone in February or March, a new LG sometime in spring, a new Google Pixel in October, and a new iPhone in September. And with every one of these releases, the company puts on a show demonstrating the new capabilities of their latest and greatest, and why you need to throw away your old phone and buy this new one. The only issue is that people aren't buying it. According to Strategy Analytics poll, many Americans are holding off upgrading their phones. The primary reason for this has been the increasing phone prices. As phones continue to be priced over $1,000, a lot of consumers have decided that the upgrade for over a previous is simply not worth it. Ironically, it is this new purchasing habit that's caused manufacturers to iterate even more. Let me explain. Manufacturers have fully leaned into higher phone prices at this point. To justify these prices, they feel that they must offer end user some sort of upgrade to feel that the upgrade was deserved every year. The pressure to justify the $1,000 phone is why slight design changes are made and why companies are, in a sense, charging for the same phone twice. Smartphone marketing of new products is centered around hype building. How this small new feature will be life-changing and how we must spend $1,000 to merely experience it. However, as phones have become better as the category has matured, this type of hype marketing no longer works. There is a better way, the 2-year plan. Here in the US, most people will still buy their phones through carrier plans. The appeal to the customer is obvious. Pay an interest-free amount monthly over 24 months and the phone is paid off. Most people are comfortable with this, and which means that people are conditioned to keep a phone for 2 years. This was the case back when phone contracts were in vogue. The mass amount of people have always agreed to pay for a phone for 2 years. The yearly upgrade has been something that has been designated for tech geeks to try out the newest upgrade from a Galaxy S10 to a Galaxy S20. The mass majority of people do not care enough about these small upgrades to make a new purchase year after year. It would appear then that the companies making these phones are fighting a losing battle while only catering to a small population of tech enthusiasts. And the ultimate irony is that the tech enthusiast, who more than most is not willing to spend over $1,000 for a smartphone. It is that budget consciousness of the enthusiast that has propelled OnePlus to its preferential status in the last few years. So what is the solution to all of this? Release a new phone every 2 years instead of one. On the surface, this sounds crazy. Why would a company make less products and risk losing sales? The reality is that most people upgrade every 2 years, making the phone a point of yearly upgrade a bit pointless. Additionally, most upgrades that are happening these days are in the software and machine learning realm more than the hardware. Let's take a look at some manufacturers' releases in the recent years and realize that the buzz around a phone would have been more meaningful if the in-between device was skipped. Samsung. The Korean giant releases phones like clockwork, but in recent years, the upgrades have been few and far between. Consider the development of the X6 through the S10. 4 different models, all sharing the similar design DNA. If the company had gone from the S6 directly to the S8 and the S8 to the S10, there would have been a more impactful feature improvement. Even considering something as simple as the fingerprint sensor, this update cadence would have introduced authentication mode on every release, which is a feeling of new feature as opposed to a year after year iteration. LG's V series of phones have always been the go-to for content creation, but in recent years, there has been a case of over-iteration with the V line. If the company had skipped the V50 in between the V40 and the V60, there would have been a real reason to upgrade. The V60 introduced a better solution for dual screen accessories and camera upgrades over the V40 that made the upgrade worthwhile. OnePlus, hit me up with an update. As hardware innovation has started to peak, the real race for differentiation has been on the software front. This has been the case across all manufacturers. The inclusion of AI into cameras, which that's kind of died out, battery management and other areas of the phone experience has come front and center, as this continues to be the driving force of innovation and the need for new hardware to become less and less important. Hold on, my Mac is about to go to sleep. I need to run and get the charger. Talk amongst yourselves.
What kind of live stream is this? Who am I working with here? Who runs a live stream and doesn't plug it in?
We don't even going to finish the story because it's,
This is a very long story.
I wish they would do this because it would make sense, but they're not going to do it because they want to make money. But This is like everybody's mad at Apple. Everybody was mad at Apple for recycling that same design year after year. Mm-hmm. But why switch it if people like it and they're buying it? Why would you go from a flat screen to a curved display just for the sake of upgrading it and then everybody hates it? Samsung stayed with that curved display. I think it was from the S6. Wasn't it the 6?
Oh, I thought it was the.
I think it was the S6, the S7,
okay.
the S8.
I thought it was the 7.
I think it was the 6.
Okay.
And everybody hated it.
It was a 6. It was a 6.
Everybody hated it because you get accidental touches and the curve the screen protector wasn't staying on it good. But they would just keep. Well, Samsung, I think they kept that design for a couple of years, but they just switched just for the sake of switching. Apple just did the smartest thing ever by using the same old parts and making a phone with the newest processor. And the battery sucks, but that was a good idea. Like if you got a company, like
It's a smart idea.
Imagine if Google just kept the Pixel 2 design and just changed it a little bit. You know what I mean? The same body. Nobody would have been like, oh, this phone sucks, because it ain't like the software wasn't really changing.
Mm-hmm.
The software of the phone didn't change.
Yeah.
They would be able to make the cases cheaper, because they're never going to go to a every 2-year cycle. It would be nice,
look at OnePlus. They're going every 6 months making a new phone.
LG, that's why I said LG confuses me, because like last year they were like, yeah, we're not going to do a phone every year or whatever they were saying, and then they came out with like the G7 or something. Like 2 months later, they were like, here, we're announcing a new phone. Like y'all just said y'all weren't going to do that. I don't know. It don't matter. We're stuck with this. This is going to be the cycle forever until people just stop buying phones, and then the companies start realizing that they're making phones for nothing, because nobody buys phones that often. I think we're the only ones that keep buying phones. Probably me and you, Jerome.
Yeah, no shit.
You're
probably right.
I know Mike don't do it. Ted, you got a BlackBerry, so you ain't doing it. It's just it's us.
Well, I also have an iPhone 11 that's supposed to be doing the job of making me look nice.
See, well, you're not gonna. Oh, well, you. That's because you're using it wrong.
Says that, and then he loses connection.
You're using it wrong, man. You're using it wrong. You got to connect it to too much stuff. But yeah, like you don't even gotta upgrade that iPhone for a long time, because they not changing nothing. OnePlus might have to start selling crap. Yeah, they might, Gary, because I don't think nobody bought that E.
Yeah, but we should do that. It's just too much e-waste, man. Too much e-waste. All these.
I don't even care about the I don't care about the e-waste. I care about my money.
They care about e-waste. They
don't care about the environment.
None of these big companies care about the environment. If they could get away with polluting the water while they make these electronics, yeah, that is the last thing they're worried about. They're doing slave labor in other countries to make us these phones. What do they care about the environment?
It's like I was telling Jerome, like it's like Jerome was like he feels like he got cheated buying the Pixel 4 at that price.
At $800.
Jerome, you had the Pixel 3, right?
I had the XL and the regular.
All right, so you had the Pixel 3 XL, and I had the Pixel 3 XL, and I know the upgrade from the Pixel 3 XL to the Pixel 4 was not that much. We could have just kept the 3 XL,
sure, yep.
Saved that money in between the next year, waited till the 5,
right,
and thought about it. You know what I mean? Like we're the ones wasting money. The company's not really giving us nothing amazing to buy the phone. We're the ones.
That is true. Well, it's correct.
We just want to have the newest one. It's the same thing with the chip.
Say it again.
I gotta have it again. What? We're the ones doing it. Yeah, we got ones. Yeah, we just want the newest, the best chip that they say, and the newest model. And then when we get it, we be like, dang, I got buyer's remorse. Like Jerome said, Jerome was sitting there like, dang, I spent $800 on this thing. This is worse than my last year phone.
That's why I can't buy phones the way I do anymore. I mean, also because literally I don't have money to just buy every phone anymore. So it's also just not the smart thing to do. So
see, I wasn't buying every phone. I was just buying every Pixel.
Like, you guys.
So here's the thing: is I'll probably still keep doing that. I'll probably still keep buying every Pixel.
See, and I'm asking you because I'm trying to rationalize it for myself.
No, so for
I'm
me,
trying to explain it to me why I do it.
Because
I know I want the best one, but I know it's dumb.
Yeah, I'm just doing it. I'm doing it because, well, one, because of my YouTube channel, but that isn't the main reason. The real reason I'm doing it is because it's just the tech nerd in me. Like, I want to buy it because I want to see how it's improved over last year's model. And it's the reason I started a YouTube channel 5 years ago in the first place, because I like to see what those improvements are and then share my experiences with people. So, yeah, Ted makes a good point. Whoever this Ted guy is here.
So Jerome, between the Pixel 3 and the Pixel 4, what was the improvement?
And Crystal too.
The improvement from the Pixel 3 and the Pixel 4?
Yeah.
Nothing. No.
Nothing improved. Nothing. They
I'm
didn't
so
improve the RAM. They gave you more RAM, but
Yeah,
they took away the unlimited storage. The battery was bad. The bezel was bigger if you didn't like that. Besides that bathtub thing, I forgot about that. But this one had a pretty big, whatever you want to call it, on the front.
Bad.
yeah.
You know, like they didn't. Google didn't fix nothing. The face unlock isn't good because it don't work with none of the apps. Google didn't. They didn't give you no reason to buy that phone.
Yeah.
There was no reason to buy it.
It's hard to disagree with you there. It really is, because I sit back and I try to think of what makes the 4 so much better than the 3, and I kind of shrug my shoulders and I'm like, I don't really know. Not the 90 hertz screen. That's not a big selling point.
I forgot about the 90 hertz screen. Yeah, that don't matter.
That's not a big
selling
selling
point. It just helps your battery. It just helps your battery. It just helps your battery die quicker.
Gary says it like it's something he just does normally.
Like first you needed help with the relationships. I think we might find the problem, Gary. That's the problem. Like,
next week, Gary's going to be on TED Talks. Oh man. But yeah.
But I think we should all go back to it. This guy, the guy who wrote the article, Omar Zaran, he's begging the companies to reduce
but that's a losing battle.
Years.
That's a losing battle. They're never going to do it.
He shouldn't be talking to the companies. He should be talking to us, the consumers.
He should be telling us, don't buy it.
Yeah, don't buy it. Like,
right.
Listen, when Apple took out the headphone jack on the iPhone 7, which had barely any difference from the iPhone 6s, people should have just should not have bought it.
Nah, but listen,
they did buy it.
Listen, wait. The iPhone 6 to the 7 was a difference. The iPhone 6 wasn't water resistant. Listen. The iPhone 6s. The iPhone 6s to the 7 was a difference because the iPhone 6. One of the problems with the iPhone was always that the button would break. And if you know anybody with an iPhone, they turn on that stupid accessibility circle because they were scared of their button breaking. So they would turn on that circle.
I remember that.
I hate it.
I remember that.
So the button used to break.
They removed the.
Yeah, they switched. They stopped it and made
but
it.
That's a hardware fix.
That capacitive. Yeah, but it's a no. But listen, it's a change. Then they added what's that thing called? Force Touch. And
6S has Force Touch.
Oh, okay. Well, forget Force Touch. I think the screen got better. The screen got better on the 7, right?
It did not get better.
I thought the screen got better on the 7.
They talked about the colors and
the dual camera. The dual camera. If you bought the 7 Plus, you got a dual camera.
Only on the Plus model.
You got portrait mode, and you got
only on the Plus model.
Yeah, but people buy the Plus. Wasn't nobody buying the small one because the battery sucked.
And then you lose the headphone jack.
Who cares? Nobody cares about the headphone jack, man. Nobody. Come on. People who say they care about the headphone jack.
It's funny though, because
people who act like they care so much about it, they shouldn't buy no other phone unless it's an LG at this point.
It's just so funny to see Ted pull out wired headphones, but both of you guys are talking AirPods. Get out of here.
Because Ted knows.
I'm the only one who has wired right now.
What AirPods?
Ted knows the wire.
That's how Ted would be.
These on invisibility mode. They were on invisible mode.
That's what Ted should be doing the whole time, is wearing those headphones on while the AirPods are in his ears.
Ted will be like, "Hold on, I gotta go get the charger and put the."
They use the AirPods underneath them.
In fact, my AirPods just died, so I have to connect this headphone.
That's because you didn't charge it. You wasn't prepared. But the headphone jack, man, they need to stop that argument because the only phone that got a headphone jack left is either a budget phone or it's an LG or it's old. So if you're not buying LG phones and you're on Android, you can't even argue about that. You can't argue about it.
What about the?
What are you doing right now?
That you can use the headphone jack for. What about that?
Ted, what are you doing, man? Are you messing with the mic? Is your AirPods? You're doing something. It's messing the mic up. I don't know what kind of live stream you're trying to run here, Ted, but we got to talk.
Can you hear me now?
I can kind of hear you. There's so much lag.
All right, but no, I was talking about the headphone jack that you can also
There
use
you
for the Square Cash payments, for the e-readers, for the card.
Oh man! Now there's still the Square thing. Now is probably Bluetooth or something. You probably can
Yeah,
connect
you have
it
to pay $50 for those things. No, it's $40. You have to pay $40 for those.
to plug it into the top of your iPhone.
They give out the headphone jack ones for free.
Oh man, nobody's worried about that $40. They write it off. That $40, you just write it off. The headphone jack needed to go.
It did not need to go.
It did, man. It needed to go.
This is versatile.
Listen, Ted, when you go to the gym,
camera monitoring.
When you go to the gym and it gets snagged on the equipment.
Oh my God,
that
was
That's
a
the
nightmare
worst.
for me. That was
you
the
got to
worst.
try to figure out a way to fish it through your shirt and around your neck. And man, that thing is trash.
All you have to do is this. Just do it. All you have to do is this. Look what I'm doing. You just put it on behind you. Look at that.
I love how Ted's not wearing his AirPods anymore to prove his point.
He's missing them.
It's funny.
Dad,
though,
I heard your
because-
doorbell ring. Can you go answer the door? You got to get up, take it off, put it down.
I talked about this. I talked about this too because so for me, I don't care either way whether or not they keep the
Ted is
headphone
mixing the
jack or
truck.
not. But I have said that I can't remember the last time I used wired earbuds on any of my phones. The only time I ever use wired earbuds is when I'm doing my stream, when I'm talking to someone else on stream, or I'm editing video. Otherwise, I will always use my AirPods Pro. Like I use them daily. That's how necessary they are for me now. I don't know. If I had the option to use wired over wireless, I would probably use wired or wireless at this point. I just don't see and again, I'm not saying that we should get rid of it, especially for audio files. I think it's important. Again, for editing video and stuff that I do, I find wired important, but for phone stuff, I don't know. I don't really see a point in it anymore.
Well, how about for the monitoring? Like, what camera do you use? Do you monitor your audio with your camera, Jerome?
Yeah, but they're not going to remove the
'cause
headphone jack from there.
Yeah, I monitor my audio, but I do everything on my PC. So I never edit video on my phone, which is also weird because I feel like it seems like everyone edits video on their phone, and I feel like I'm the only one who doesn't.
I think people use their iPad.
Your iPad, or I guess because I built a PC, so I just use my rig. So
Ted, are you making a mixtape?
Yeah, earlier that's what he was doing.
Oh, that's right. I can't put emojis, but yeah, fire emoji.
What? You can't put emojis? Why not?
Oh, are you using StreamYard? You need to. Yeah, you need to do.
That's why.
Yeah.
You got to go to YouTube. StreamYard needs to
Hold on.
Ted, you got the premium. What is this thing called? Don't you? I know you don't.
No, he has the icon right there, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hold on. I can do it through Apple. Hold on. I can do it through Apple.
Of course, everything you can do through Apple. Did y'all get y'all free Google Mini? Did you get your Google Mini?
I don't have the subscription.
So you telling me you guys before has never been saved by a headphone jack when it fell and then it caught on the headphone jack? That's never happened.
No, not for me.
No, never happened.
No.
You know what? When I used to use wired earbuds at the gym, I would look like such an idiot every time it got snagged onto a barbell or whatever, or the phone would come out of my pocket, or the earbuds would pop out of my ears, and I'd feel like such a dumbass. I'm so glad I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
That was like the thing. After I got AirPods, and I never went back. Never.
I was hesitant to getting AirPods. I just needed something with good quality, and I was just like, fine, let me just give Apple their $270. So pissed.
Yeah,
I mean,
everybody
so
complains about the like the sound isn't as good. But what are you really listening to? I don't know. I guess I don't. If I listen to music on my phone, I don't expect it to be studio quality. Like I just want to hear the song.
I'm the same
But
way.
if you had the option to listen to it at better quality, wouldn't you?
Then I wouldn't
for
listen to it on my phone.
What would you listen to then?
I'm saying I wouldn't listen
Your
to
computer?
it on my phone. No,
TV?
I would
Yeah,
have
I
my stereo or whatever.
Gotcha.
I think
my headphones plugged in. You know what I
You
mean?
got
I have my
Sonos?
headphones plugged in. What?
You have Sonos? Where are you?
No,
listening?
nah. I don't got no
Where else did you listen to?
Sonos.
Oh man,
Where
I used to
else-
have I used to have the whole Sonos setup. It was great. It was great.
Where else did you listen to this hi-fi music, Will?
I'm saying if I wanted to, I would have a setup for it. It wouldn't be my phone. I
Or
wouldn't be like,
you have it on your phone and you have it everywhere you go.
well, then I would need a good pair of headphones. And I'm not walking around with a $300 pair of
You don't
wired
need a
headphones.
$300
You know what I
bill.
mean?
You get great headphone quality for when it's wired. $50 will take you a long way when it's wired.
I'm not gonna.
And then Ted, I'm not using an LG phone, so I just have to plug in the dongle on the iPhone.
It's not even an LG phone. Even OnePlus has a good,
Yeah,
depth.
but did you guys see? Did you guys see on the LG Velvet? They're getting rid of the. At least the rumor is there's going to be no quad DAC.
The world is going to end.
Velvet.
The world is going to end.
But like, I guess for a lot of people, right? They expect it out of their LG.
Where's Juan? I know Juan is upset.
Oh,
He
because
loves the
they're
quad
getting rid of
DAC.
it.
He loves the quad. Oh yeah, they love that.
Will got Puff Daddy Studio set up at his house. Part of me is also like, damn, like I know I'm older too, and I know when someone uses Puff Daddy instead of Diddy.
Jerome is like, how old am I again?
It's like anyone who's Gen Z here is like, who the hell is Puff Daddy?
Oh man, that's funny.
All right, so where are we at?
Actually, no. We can. This is a good place to pause and go on to the next story. Who wants by Android Central? Android Central, 2 years of software update. Who wants that one? Who wants it?
I'll go ahead. I'll read it. That's fine.
Oh, you read this one ahead of time. This is only a passage, huh?
No, I didn't. Oh, is it a passage?
This is only a passage from the Bible. It's not.
No, it's not oh God, no! This is still long. Are you kidding me? Okay, you know what? I might just let's talk about it. I'm talking like I'm streaming on my own channel. I'm sorry. It's like habit at this point. Okay, 2 years of software updates is no longer enough for $1,000 Android phones. With $1,000 flagships being the new normal, Android device makers need to match Apple when it comes to software updates. The iPhone 10 set the stage for $1,000 flagships back in 2017. The Galaxy Note 8 wasn't far behind, with the phone launching at $929. Ever since then, the phone prices have been regularly trending upward, and the latest Android flagships now start off at $1,000. The regular S20 retails for $1,000, S20 Ultra starting off at $1,400. Then there's the Verizon exclusive Motorola Edge Plus, which also costs $1,000. Don't waste your money on that phone. And even Xiaomi is getting in on the action with the Mi 10 Pro, which retails for €999 in the UK. Sure, the corresponding hike in prices is attributed to improved hardware, with phones these days sporting much better displays with high refresh rates, larger camera modules with dedicated telephoto lenses, and 5G connectivity. The new connectivity standard alone has led to $100 to $200 increase in prices from the previous generation. And while Android flagships are substantially costlier now and feature much better hardware than a few years ago, one art that hasn't changed is software updates. Most brands are still only committed to offering 2 platform updates and security updates for 3 years. And that's true even for $1,000 flagships. That needs to change. As my colleague Joe pointed out, the software experience is more important than any other spec. In 2020, hardware has been commoditized for some time now. And if you want a phone with the latest specs, you don't have to spend $1,000, regardless of how much you've paid for your phone. If the software is subpar, you're going to have a bad experience. In that context, software updates matter more than ever. Now, new platform versions bring a host of new features, and while Android 10 did not introduce many visual changes over its predecessor, there were a lot of changes under the hood. But with brands only committed to 2 Android version updates, only phones released in the last 2 years will get the latest Android update, leaving tens of millions of devices out in the cold. Android phones have fared poorly against the iPhone in this area for years. And while Google tried to change that by requiring brands to offer at least 2 platform updates, not all manufacturers have complied with that rule. Motorola typically commits to only 1 platform update, and it took endless user backlash for the brand to agree to delivering 2 updates to its Edge Plus flagship. Because of the egalitarian nature of Android, there's not much Google can do to enforce these rules. Google is instead leading by example by extending the software support on its Pixel phones. Google delivered the Android 10 update to the first gen Pixel XL, making it the 3rd platform update for the phone. The Pixel software update page clearly mentions that the Pixel 2 series will get platform version updates until October 2020, guaranteeing Android 11 for the devices, while the Pixel 3 and Pixel 4 series also slated to receive 3 platform updates. Should we go through this? Okay, it's not that much longer. By ensuring that Pixel flagships get 3 platform updates, Google is offering at least 1 more version update than the rest of the field. It still isn't the same as the 4 or 5 years of updates that Apple delivers to its iPhones, but it's a good starting point nonetheless. The issue here is that Pixel phones make up a tiny fraction of Android phones globally, and realistically, a brand like Samsung needs to take the onus to drive the change on Android. Samsung is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and if the South Korean manufacturer changes its policies around updates, other device makers will have to inevitably follow suit. Samsung does a decent job rolling out updates to its flagships, but it doesn't fare so well when it comes to its mid-range and budget Galaxy A phones, particularly in Asian markets. There have been several cases in the past where the brand delivered just a single platform update to its budget phones. With the $399 iPhone SE changing the paradigm for value, it's high time Android manufacturers extend software support on their phones. The SE runs the latest A13 Bionic chipset, and that means it'll get updates for at least 4 years. This gives it a distinct advantage over every other Android phone in the sub $500 segment. The new reality is that people are using their devices for longer than ever before, with budget and mid-range phones increasingly sporting much more robust hardware. There's no reason to upgrade your phone on a yearly basis. For instance, the Galaxy A71, which is right here, is powered by the Snap 730, and the hardware itself is good enough that it'll easily last 3 or more years without any issues. But Samsung is committed to 2 version updates and a further year of security updates delivered once a quarter. To sum it up, Android device manufacturers need to start rethinking their strategy around updates, not just in the flagship segment, but also in the mid-range category. The launch of the iPhone SE is a wake-up call for the industry as a whole, and it has highlighted the gulf that exists between Android and iOS updates. We'll just have to wait and see if this acts as a catalyst for Android manufacturers to raise their game. They're not going to be raising their game. Are you crazy? Why would they continue to make updates for their older phones when they know it's not going to make them money? At least I feel like that's where Apple has that advantage, right? It's weird. It's weird for me to recommend Apple products. Maybe not weird. I guess for me, because I used to always try to convince people to buy Androids back in the day, because I was like, here's what the Android phone can do. And I never do that anymore. I never do, because I know that if someone spends $400 on this iPhone SE, I know that that phone is probably going to last, and it's probably going to get supported, and the user is going to have a good experience with it. I don't think I'm going to hear many issues except, well, this battery sucks. And I'm like, well, it's $400. What do you want to do?
$40. You can get a battery case for $40.
There you go. Will that A71 even get updated? Probably not. I don't know. I'm probably not keeping it. So let's be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see another company even going 3 years other than Google for their updates. Who else is going to step up and do 3 years of updates on their phones? I mean, Motorola, God, can you imagine spending $1,000 on that Motorola Edge Plus? Well, now they're going to do two software updates, but they're just, when they initially said they were just going to do one update, I was like, you're out of your mind. Why are you going to spend $1,000 on this phone? Such a waste of money. Plus, you get to buy it from Verizon. So, no, thank you.
Yeah, but you know what, Jerome? We don't even count, because nobody who buys the phone besides us cares about updates.
I know.
So they can do no update at all for the phone, and people will still be happy with it.
Yeah.
What?
But Apple wins because, like they said, Apple controlled. Had to take off his headphones. Everybody, Apple.
He doesn't have his AirPods on, does he? So he can't hear anything I'm saying. God damn it, Ted.
I can hear everything.
You can hear.
These headphones were good.
Oh God!
These headphones were good. What are you talking about?
Apple controls the whole thing, so they're able to do it. Like I think it was, I forget which phone it was, but they were saying that Qualcomm and the way they do their chip, certain times it can't do too many updates. You know what I mean? Like they basically make it so that it's obsolete. But they gotta be lying, because the Android community can go put Android 10 on a 4-year-old Nokia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they don't want to update it. They want to keep you buying the next phone, because they know there's people like me and you, Jerome, who are like, I gotta have the newest model of whatever it is. Like
it's a money thing for these companies. That's why.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But see, that's why Apple is so smart, because Apple is like, we'll recycle the same design for 3 or 4 years, and we'll keep updating it, because they already know that the person who bought the iPhone 10, they're not going to buy the iPhone XS. Most likely, they won't buy the iPhone 11. You know what I mean? They might come for the iPhone 12. So why are you going to drastically change the design when the software is the same? It makes everything easier. Like Google changing the design every year is dumb.
Right.
One design stuck with it.
It's crazy. I laughed when I saw Gary say Motorola will give you 6 months of updates. But then Gary makes a good point here, where he says Apple is the gift and curse of the smartphone industry. And the way I think about that is, so like I sit here and I'll bitch about Apple charging $1,000 for a phone, but you know what? When I think about it now, when I look, and I'm not trying to defend $1,000 price point, because I still think $1,000 is ridiculous. But
it's too much. Yeah, it is.
But here's the thing: is the fact that if somebody came to me and said, Jerome, I was thinking about buying the iPhone 11 or iPhone 11 Pro, which one should I get? And for most people, I'll tell them the iPhone 11. I feel like that's probably going to be enough for you, even though it's $700. But here's the thing: what if they tell me, well, I still want to spend the $1,000? And in my head, I'll be like, well, you know what? That phone will probably last you 5 years. It's probably worth the money at that point. I mean, I sit here and I have a 2015 MacBook Pro, and that MacBook Pro still works, and I can still edit pictures on it when I do my photography work. When I edit video, I can still do, I mean, it's not the best video editing experience, but if in a pinch, if I really needed to, I can't say that about any 5-year-old laptop I have. Don't give me any Dell laptop that's 5 years old, because I can't do shit on that. That's not going to do anything for me. And again, I'm not trying to defend Apple in any way for their price points, but you I know it's gonna last.
You can't really defend it, but everybody, Samsung has $1,000 phones, Apple's got $1,000 phones, Google's got $1,000 phones. Apple gives you like the most quality of a product, because you can go to the store and get it fixed. They give you the most for your $1,000. Yeah. So at least, like you said, when you buy that $1,000 phone, it's going to hold its value. In 3 years, you're going to have the updates.
Yeah,
the software is going to be up to date. You're not going to look out of date with it. You know what I mean? You're still going to be able to use iMessage and all that stuff. Like, you get the most for your money. If you spend that, like you said, if you spend that money on a Samsung or whatever, you might get 2 years of updates. If it breaks, you got to send it in and wait 3. You know what I mean? Like, you're not getting nothing for your money when you buy it. You're just getting the product when you buy it from the other company.
No, I absolutely.
With Apple, you're getting service. Like, you're getting service with it. You get, you get an ecosystem. You get earbuds. You get the computer thing if you got it. It's just.
You guys remember the first article actually that you guys read on my channel? How long Apple provides updates? 5 years. And then after that, and then it's the first article. The first article
when they go to vintage or whatever, right?
Yeah, they go to vintage for Korea. So it's about 7 years you can still use your device. That's
and if you break it down that way by the cost, it's like it's not that bad. You know what I mean? Yeah. Instead of spending $1,000 and it's old in 2 years.
And Apple, now I don't blame Apple for charging too much now, because they have the iPhone 11, and then from the iPhone 11 to the 11 Pro, you're getting all the features. You're just what they charge more is the stuff that you won't really need so much, like an AMOLED screen.
So
because they know that the segment of people that's going to buy that model isn't that much.
Right.
They know most people are going to go buy the cheapest one. And last year, what Apple put out with the cheapest product killed what Android did.
Mhm.
Like that
Yeah, the
cheapest
iPhone
phone you can
10R.
have was
Last
amazing.
year was the iPhone 10R.
So-
and that was the highest.
No,
selling
not the
phone.
10R, the iPhone 11.
Yeah.
The iPhone 11 was it $700?
$700. Well, here's the
It
thing
came with
too.
wide angle,
hmm
night mode.
A killer
Portrait
battery.
mode of
It
this
just
year.
Yeah, the
That's
battery
the
was
top selling phone
good.
of this year. Last year, the top selling phone of the year was the iPhone 10R. This year's the
Oh
iPhone 11.
yeah, the 11.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. That the 11 was cheap, and it
Thanks,
well,
Big
it
Al.
wasn't cheap, but it was cheap considering Apple, and it was an amazing phone. Like the camera was good, everything.
Gary shits on Apple all the time. He shits on everybody.
Wrong, Gary. Apple customers
You
do
know
care
what?
about the
Apple,
updates.
a lot of Apple users complain about the updates because they say it messes up the phone and blah blah blah. But if they couldn't get the update, like we always talk about it in the chat thing in our little room, the people would complain because you're going to miss out on security and you're missing stuff.
And the new features, yeah.
But see, here's the thing too, and this is why Apple is going to kill it this year with the iPhone 12, because if that iPhone 12 comes out at that $650 price point with 128 gigs of RAM, with an OLED display, with the same camera setup, just better than the 11, with a great battery life, and charge $650, and then what? The Pixel 5 is going to charge what, $700 if we're lucky? $800. Who's going to buy a Pixel 5 unless that camera is going to destroy the iPhone 12 camera? And
It's
will
not,
it? I don't know.
Because Google can't even get the night mode right, man. They can't even get night mode right. It's like Google. I think their Pixel part or whatever is all messed up because there's no reason that what's his name shouldn't complain about the phone and still let it come out. How are you going to say you weren't happy with it and you let it come out anyway? Like that shows you that right there, Jerome, should be our message to don't buy another Pixel phone because they don't care.
Yeah,
they do not. Could you imagine Tim Cook being like, "I'm not happy with it"? That's like Air Power. We're not happy with it, but let it go out anyway.
Yes,
like, why would you do that?
A good point. That is a good point.
That's
Will.
stupid.
Yeah,
Everybody laughed when they stopped Air Power, but I mean, Google should have stopped the Pixel 4.
Yeah,
they should have been like, "Nah, we can't sell it in India. None of the apps are ready to support. None of the apps support Face Unlock. So why are we going to give this to our customer? It's a downgrade from the 3. Let's wait."
There you go.
Nah, we're Google. Just put it out. That's terrible, man. That's terrible.
I don't know.
It's true.
It's
that shows you Gary, they don't care about you, man. They don't care. They do not. They don't care. There was an article. You was reading the article, Jerome. Remember the Pixel Buds are trash. They're saying when you put them in your pocket, they don't work.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that problem with them in my pocket, but they cut out. Sometimes they do cut out. And I
didn't know that. Thank you for sharing that because
at their presentation, they were like, "You're going to be able to walk a football field away."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, right." I'm like, "Just give me 10 feet and I'll be happy."
That's why.
I'm walking outside. I'm walking outside to go get in the car to go to work, and it's cutting out.
So that's crazy to me because I thought that was their main feature. So in that article I read, today,
their main feature is Google Assistant.
Yeah,
that's the main feature of the Pixel.
Well, so what good is Google Assistant if the thing is going to be
cutting out,
choppy and cutting out? And Ted, I don't know if you heard or if you read it, but when I was doing when I was reading this article today about the AirBuds being choppy or connecting,
the AirBuds,
the Pixel Buds, the Pixel Buds getting choppy or losing connection. On the article I read from Android Police, in his article, he was saying, yeah, sometimes it gets choppy even when I put it in my back pocket. What the fuck? In your back pocket? Why? So
you might as well get a wire. You might as well get the wire earbuds.
And so the point I made, and I'm sorry I swore, it's just George isn't here, so like I know I can, but
unfiltered.
I mean that's how I am on my channel, always unfiltered. But here's the thing: is I use my AirPods Pro daily. daily. I go work out every day. I use my AirPods Pro and I have no connection issues. It never, how about you guys? Do you guys have connection issues?
My AirPods work
No.
great, man. I'm
No.
at work, I go all the way down the hall.
Well,
Phone will be
so
on the desk and it's still connected.
that's my point right there. Look at that. How can you not recommend that to somebody when you know that it works that well? And
You know why?
Because
Because Apple is the enemy.
What's
For
that?
Android people, for Android users, Apple is the enemy. They can't recommend an Apple product.
I don't know, man.
It's not that I can like recommend. It's like what stops me is like the price. Like, like I see what Apple offers. I see what everyone else offers for the same amount. It's like, the value to cost ratio. Like it was not an easy like road to come to spend $270 Apple. Well, actually, no. I gave it to a guy on eBay. I bought it from a guy on eBay, but still.
Yeah.
I did try out like 5 other Bluetooth earbuds.
So you tried before getting the AirPods Pro.
I tried literally everything else.
Yeah, it's hard for me. That's why I can't sit here and tell people, well, maybe you should get, or maybe you shouldn't get an iPhone, or maybe you shouldn't pick the AirPods, because it's at the end of the day, it's most likely still going to be a good buy for you. And I'm not going to have to hear questions about, well, why isn't this working, or why is this one like this? And because there's not much that anyone has to do, they just use it. And,
You just use it. Yeah. There was a lady at my job. She was like, I was going to buy the AirPods, but I didn't know they could connect to my Android. And I was like, oh, man. So yeah, you just push the button on the back. Like, come on, it's just Bluetooth.
But at the end of the day, being the tech person I am still optimistic that the Pixel 4a, the Pixel 5 will still kill it. Don't say I'm still stupid.
I'm still dumb. I want Google to succeed, but it's like, I don't know, man. Google just disappoints me every year. Google disappoints me every year, and I never thought that I would be back on an iPhone all the time.
You see, Will? You should do it like me. Don't pay any attention to the leaks, and when it comes out, you only the mental emotions are only used for one day. Instead of when you pay attention to all these leaks, you become invested over air, and then when it finally comes, you get let down.
Then I can't sit here and bitch about it. So.
The leaks, but the leaks kind of let me know what I'm getting into. Like when the Pixel 4 was coming, they were like, this is the Soli chip and blah blah blah, and the battery's this small, and I was just like, oh, this is gonna be a train wreck. But I'm like Jerome, I'm stupid, man. I like Google, and if it's Android, a Pixel is like the only Android phone that I'll stick with. I tried the Note 10, the S9, the OnePlus, but I always go back to Google because I'm picky. Like I'll complain about the way the launcher scrolls and stuff like that. I don't want to have to put launchers on the thing and change the icon pack. But Google just always finds a way to mess up. Google always messes up something, and they mess up basic stuff. Their software is good. They'll mess up the battery. If the battery on the Pixel 4 was good, I would have no problem with the phone. The phone would be perfect for me.
If it started off at $500,
and if it was cheaper,
they get the hardware right,
but listen, they always because their software is usually
Pixel C,
the Pixel 3 had the
Pixel C.
I wasn't buying that. I wasn't buying that.
Yeah, I don't even. I forgot about that.
But
that was way too much. That was way too much money for a Chromebook. Nah.
It wasn't a Chromebook, it was an Android tablet.
Yeah, that was a tablet. But that's
also I thought it was a Chromebook.
It was a tablet.
It's also the
reason
thinking
about the Pixel Slate. You're thinking about the Pixel Slate.
The Pixel C. What, you have it?
No.
I want to see it.
Yeah,
it was an Android tablet.
What was the Pixel book that they had with the real crazy screen? Like the screen specs were crazy.
That's
on your channel.
That was the Pixel Slate.
That's the Slate.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
And then there's the other higher end one.
They had a Pixel book or something that came out a long time ago.
Yeah, that's
what you were talking about.
You mean this one, the Chromebook, the Pixel? This one, the Chromebook Pixel.
Chromebook Pixel.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's a Chromebook.
Yeah, I thought that's not what you're talking about. What is the?
No, I'm
Pixel
talking
C?
about the Android tablet, the Pixel C, the Android tablet. Will
I don't never buy Android tablets. They don't even exist in my.
And so
world.
you know what? That's so funny because like I wanted to get into tablets. I actually when that Chromebook Pixel came out, I really wanted one because I wanted to see what a high-end Chromebook could be like, but I couldn't do it because I just don't know how long they're going to support it, and I can't even use Adobe software on it. I can't edit videos on Premiere Pro. I can't edit pictures on Lightroom or Photoshop.
Gary,
so what's the point? $2,300.
You spent 2 mortgage payments, and where's the note? You sent it back. You sent the note back, didn't you?
Yeah. I'm surprised Gary bought a Note. Was it just to test it out?
You should have just bought a OnePlus.
He's not gonna buy a OnePlus. He can't convince him to buy a OnePlus.
Why does Siri keep coming on this stupid computer, man?
yeah,
terrible.
because they do the software so right.
Yeah, as Ted is like rotating in the circle there with no face.
God damn it!
I don't know what you're doing there, Ted. I have no idea.
Ted, Jerome is embarrassed for you.
I'm just no. You know what? I'm gonna and that's the same reason Jerome, I had Will and George upgrade or at least try
Jerome
to upgrade their audio. I want you guys to stream well. It's important.
Listen,
nobody wants to watch you when you're like.
I have a Fujifilm camera that I can stream with, but it's only for Windows. I only have a Mac. The best I can do is this iPhone.
I'm using
Jerome, I'm
using like a 5 or 6. I'm using like a 5 or 6 year old webcam. A $20 studio light over here.
You can't find
Jerome,
a webcam in this economy. Corona,
Jerome, if we didn't come on, it would have just been a black circle on the screen.
Yeah, I know. Like, what did I come on here for?
There it goes
again. God damn it, Ted. No, we have to work on this. You want me to come? You want me to come on your stream?
Okay.
Oh,
it's the iPhone's fault. Okay, it's not doing.
I don't understand. Ted, wait, Ted, what computer do you have?
Yeah, why aren't you using
the computer?
Right.
You're not even the computer now.
You're not even seeing the audio.
That's the wire.
You're talking to me from last week's stream.
That's the wired headphones. It's the wired headphones doing it. That's the wire. That's the wire. Ted, you got to play with the wire at the connection.
I don't know, man. You need to test. You need to.
It's not the wired headphones, okay? It's not the
AirPods. It's maybe it is just your internet connection, man.
Oh god, that was funny.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, just use your computer. He switched views.
He's given up. He's like, fuck it, forget it.
It switched views like 3 times.
No, this is my iPhone now. Okay, when it works,
I was watching an action movie.
But it screws me.
Action movie. He's switching the cameras. It's a multicam setup.
Oh god.
Allow it.
All right, Ted. How much? I'm tired, man. How much do we have? Because I'm ready to kind of talk.
I gotta go to work.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
you gotta.
Actually, we're good. We finished all the stories.
We'll just bring them to the next one next week. Who's next week anyway?
I don't know.
This was George's week. It's probably my week next week.
We should. I want to do one on my channel, guys. I feel like
What time do you go on? You got to give me a time.
I'll do it at night with you guys. I don't know.
Okay. So you could do it at night then.
We'll talk about it. Then yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun. Only if. Yeah,
but you know what? We should do it. We should try to do it. You got to tell because a lot of your subscribers are like in India and.
I know.
What time did you?
No. I don't mind doing one. I would do one on a different day or something at night. And if people come, whatever, it's still a good way to just have a conversation.
Yeah. I guess, but your room is always so active. You be having Mint Arcade in there, and you know.
Yeah, it's been going pretty well lately.
Okay, George said I'm next week. Okay.
Where's George?
He just texted me.
Oh, damn it. And okay. Hi, George. I can't. George's not talking in chat. He's just. I had no
Jerome was
idea.
unfiltered all night.
I have. Sorry, George, for sure.
Oh God. Ted is reworking the system over there.
I don't know what. I was
All right.
set this up for the next one. We're about to stop streaming. You're gonna set this up, and you're still gonna get that. I bet you're still gonna get that circle in the next minute or so.
Well, before I get the circle, I just want to thank everyone for watching.
Oh, man.
And thanks for coming on, George. Hope you guys liked our stories and the contributions. And where can we find you guys? Will, you got anything to sign off with?
Nah, I don't got nothing. See y'all next week.
Okay, he mumbled that. I was like, no, I got nothing. Jerome, how about you?
You'll find me on Jerome's chat. I'll be in Jerome's chat.
If you guys are ever interested, you guys can check me out on my YouTube channel or Instagram or Twitter at Phone Jerome. I do stream every weekday at around 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Central now. Just spend an hour talking chat. So you can find me there. Otherwise, thank you guys for coming in. Thank you for talking. It's nice to always have a community to talk to. So thought it was, that's all I got. I hear you, George. No problem.
Thanks for watching, George.
Yeah, thanks for making.
Watching. And next time I'll instruct Jerome to watch the language. The language.
What I want to do is I want to fix your internet or whatever. That's what don't worry about me. I do me.
But yeah, it's I have Suddenlink. I'm trying to switch over to AT&T. But otherwise,
you have right now
Suddenlink. They're called Suddenlink.
Is that satellite internet?
I think they're cable. They're cable.
Okay. I don't know. Let's fix your internet, Ted.
You know what?
Who's your phone company?
My phone company is T-Mobile, and on that note,
you'll probably do better with the hotspot.
Maybe you would.
T-Mobile. I've been waiting for them to give me this home internet thing. Can you see it? Damn.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for them to give me this home internet thing. This home internet thing, but still not available in my area. So
that's how they usually do it. You'll probably do better. You should try to use your hotspot.
Yeah. So you know what?
See if it works.
With the news organization I work with, sometimes when we have guests and I'm testing them out before the show starts, sometimes when they use their PC internet or whatever, or their laptop, it's so bad. And then I ask them to switch over and just turn on their mobile phone or their iPhone or whatever. And as soon as they connect with that, it's great. It works so much better. So I know you want to have higher production and whatever, but like none of that matters if I can't hear you or there's a 30-second delay. So it's
like the Pixel. The camera's great.
And apparently I'm tethered to this Wi-Fi.
Now I don't. I can't. Who's gonna hit the end stream button? This guy is gone. I'm just about to stand up and walk away, guys.
Oh my God, this is great. Oh man.
Maybe I should just have him keep his internet so we can just.
His internet is really bad.
Literally just stuck there.
Man.
Whatever internet service that you're getting provided with, Ted, they are ripping you off.
That's like
I am now the captain.
Oh God. His internet is terrible.
I can't remove any.
Wait. Do we have to let him back in the room?
I have no idea how it works from now. How it works here from now. Yeah, see, Ted is responding. Oh, Ted, none of us can end the stream. Yeah, I'm just about to.
Oh God.
And I can just sit here and not have anyone. I don't. There we go.
There we go. All right, Ted, end the stream before you freeze again.
No, he's not.
All right, guys. Thank you for putting up with the technical difficulties. Oh my gosh, like this looks so scary. This is like such a
He's in
scary
a dark
vibe.
room.
I hope you guys have a good weekend.
Serial killer in the back.
Peace.
Oh god. Oh man.